Hey guys, how you doing? This is Ryan Date, aka Date Ryan Sama at Twitter. Maurice, if you know me. Over there is Nippon Goose Sama. That's Travis. Up there is Nobunaga Deno. That's Tommy. In the middle is Blacks by Nature, Kadeem. And over there is Ed, and Edwin, because he's Edwin. We are the Hashira Podcast, where we are meeting as the pillars to talk about all things anime and nerd. Hoping that you would join the conversation. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see every time a meeting is starting, and you can enjoy the videos and the conversation. So, we were talking about some things in the last episode, and we had some comments, and I just wanted to bring up a comment that was a question directed to us by one of our viewers. And it simply says this. It is from Hurricane Caddy. And it says, Nippon Goose-sama mentioned something about thinking that Hunter x Hunter was put on a pedestal. Are there any other animes that you think are overrated that the anime community puts on a pedestal? So,
is it only for him?
Oh no, we're all gonna tackle this question together. I just wanted to read out because it was a good one and I saw it in the comments and I wanted to make sure that we talked about it. So, who's first?
Edwin had his hand up.
Yeah, I'll go first. I think one of the top 5 most overrated animes ever created. Well, top 2 for me. One Piece.
Oh.
The most overrated anime ever.
Well, why do you think it's overrated?
Because I feel like they stretch it out too much. Like you'll see the same thing like for like 4 or 5 or 6 episodes. Arcs are like 100 episodes long. And like they could be chopped down to like 25, 30 episodes. Like if they were just not with the, wedding cakey for like 29 episodes.
Oh, you mean
you know what I'm saying?
You mean
the fights are,
we said this before, you mean the Steps in Water 7?
Yeah, that too. I feel like the fights are like way too long. I mean it's not that bad, but I just feel like it's overrated. It's really funny to me. The story's pretty cool, but it's very overrated.
I'm gonna say let's all say our one, and then we could defend if we want to defend. But I am gonna try to defend One Piece. But let's all say it first. I don't want to, because then we could go on and on, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say mine. It's Trigun.
But I love the Trigun.
It's Trigun, and I think the reason why I say it's Trigun is because, granted, I enjoyed the anime. It's cool, but at the same time, we were given a character that can pretty much do anything. Once I learned he was an alien and he could do anything, like his power was just better than everybody he was fighting on Earth, it stopped me from connecting with the character.
Gotcha. You feel like it took away from him.
Yeah, exactly. And I couldn't give him any more props because you already have all these. You have more skills than everybody you're fighting against on Earth.
Gotcha. Okay. I hear that. But we love Vash the Stampede.
Wait.
All right.
So,
no, I can see that story when it went to crap, man. Like when they found out that he was an alien or something like that.
Yeah, that's what Travis was saying.
He wasn't even from Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's when I just lost all interest in that show.
Yeah, I see it, but I wanted to watch it till the end. Yeah, go ahead.
But what? So because you found out that he's stronger than everybody and he's an alien, why does that make it overhyped though? Overrated?
Well, it's just like everybody put this show so top tier, and I can't understand the reason why, due to there's no true connection for the character. So like, how can you even, like, when I like an anime and I'm putting it on the top, and I'm talking about animes like Monster, Elfen Lied, even if it's like joking, Tenchi Muyo, there's still a connection there.
Okay.
There's nothing specific to give it that oomph over other animes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Trigun is rated as a high one, such as Rurouni Kenshin was rated high.
Well, Kenshin
Gundam was rated high. These are the One Piece is rated now. One of the recent animes, One Piece is rated high. Naruto was rated high. Trigun was at the time rated high in those days.
Yeah, but One Piece is quote unquote number one for the. Yeah, exactly.
But wait, Tommy.
For like decades almost.
Let me. I want to hear Tommy.
Yeah, no, go ahead. My bad.
Go ahead, Tommy. What is your anime you can put on a pedestal that doesn't deserve it?
Shit. I don't even know, man. I don't even think I have one.
Oh.
I mean, it's because I don't watch so much anime.
That's what you're.
One Piece.
He's a manga.
You know how
reader.
you guys
He's a
say that
manga
One
reader.
Piece is drug out? I mean, I could see that, but in the manga, it's not even that way. So I really wouldn't know. I mean, all that wedding cake stuff, I don't know about that shit.
It was the worst.
Oh,
That's
I mean, so,
long.
but are there any mangas that you hear people are always buzzing about, always talking about, that you're just like, this manga
Yeah,
is not
I
as
guess
good?
you could
Like,
pick a
you know,
manga.
like you could pick a manga. It doesn't have to just be an anime. You know, they work together. So
Where you're like, this is good, but I
it's
don't
not
see
as
how it-
amazing as it, you know.
There was one that I didn't really see lived up to the hype, but then I'm slowly getting on board, and we already discussed this anime in length, which was My Hero at first.
Okay. So why?
Yeah.
What happened at first?
Right.
At first, I felt like there was just pretty much a replica of so many other animes, and I didn't really see any like creativity into it.
Mm.
But what I started to see is like what they started doing with the quirks. I was like, yeah, this is like original. You don't really normally see a lot of animes that have like super abilities or superpowers use these types of things. So, and the story started to progress. It started to get a little deeper, and now at some point I got a connection with a character, which was like Lemillion. So everything that character was doing, I was just trying to follow. And I mean, now it's actually gotten a lot better. But in its early stages, I was like, man, this shit is like it's not that good, you know, as people make it out to be.
I guess that's the difficulty with shonen, right? Like you have to like, even though you're gonna be shonen, you still have to have your own kind of unique take on it.
And
If you don't have
something
a
that
unique
keeps
take on it, yeah, you're gonna lose viewers.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Kadeem, you have one?
Honestly, I'm gonna say I might receive some type of backlash for this, but I'm gonna say JoJo's.
No.
The only reason why I'm saying this is because like it's all over the place. Like there's no consistent story. Like at first it's like it goes. I don't know if it went 20 years into the future, 30 years. It's like, and then once I get a grasp of the storyline of which direction it's going, like the next next episode, it went completely left, and I was just like, okay, what? And then when I asked some friends about feedback on like how the anime is, like the second part of it, they tell me, oh, you have to watch it in English, whatever, because that you're gonna understand it more. It's gonna be more funny to you. But to me personally, like voices in Japanese, like they emphasize more things, so that's why it's more funny. So I really don't know. But I don't understand that anime at all. Guys in the comment section, if you'd like to help me understand that anime, I don't get it. And I feel like it doesn't deserve
in the
hype.
comment section below, help me and Kadeem, because I'm also in agreement with him. You tell us what it is that we're missing about the greatness of JoJo's as an anime. A lot of lists. I don't know if you guys. I don't want to stop the conversation here, but there's a lot of like lists on like Twitter and other social media things where they make the kind of like what is the top shonen of all time, and JoJo's always gets into the top 3, and I'm always confused at how that happens. So if you guys in the comment section below, please assist me and Kadeem as we are trying to figure out why that's the case. I think it's a funny anime. Wait, hold on. Are you finished, Kadeem? Because I'm picking the same thing as you, so we're good. I'm just gonna chime in with you.
I also do have another anime, but other than that,
all right. Well, you could take my slide. Go ahead. Say the other one. Take my slide. Go ahead. Say the next one, because I'm just talking about JoJo.
It's not a top anime now, but when it was out, it was a top anime. I'm gonna say Fairy Tail is another one.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I
no.
agree 100% with that.
I was expecting
I
that for money.
agree.
Fairy Tail is
I can't
another
believe
one.
I didn't even say that. Yeah.
Oh shoot. Oh. Ooh. Ooh.
I would like Fairy Tail more. If they left Loxus and Gajiel, if they left those two a villain, I feel like that it would be more. But then again, the endings would still be the same because what's the Canelo Gear, he got defeated way too easy. For him to be that, everyone was scared of him, man. He got defeated way too easy. And come on now, man. Travis, really, like, Goose, come on, like, really, like.
I mean, listen, bro, friendship, see, but
there's a lot of friendship in One Piece too, man.
Back.
A lot of friendship.
Nakamas, yo, come on.
Exactly.
I think that in Fairy Tail to me, it was good when I saw it in pieces. When I decided to watch it as a whole, I then did not understand why people thought it was the greatest thing that they had ever watched. I will say that it's a lot of repetitive stuff, and it's a lot of Natsu saying he's got a fire in his belly. If you're watching it in the dub, and in Japanese, it's a lot of getting fired up sort of situation. But I did like a lot of the side cast, and I think that is one of the biggest lures to.
No, that's true.
That's the biggest lore to me for Fairy Tail. I loved Gajio's my favorite character. He's an animal. Gajio's a beast. Lax is animal, right? Gildart's beast, right? So a lot of the side characters made that show amazing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was the lore to it. But watching it overall, I could never really get into like why it's put so high up. And I guess since Kadeem took both slots and he put two ones on that I would pick, I guess I'm just talking about the next one. And JoJo's, I think, is like, it's like he said, it's all over the place. There's a lot of weird stuff. Like in one of them, one of the guys dies, but it was a fake death, and he comes back just to get smoked a couple episodes later. Like it's so weird when they do stuff in JoJo's. I think a lot of it's funny. I mean, don't get me wrong. I laugh at Dio because Jotaro, Dio. Like I really enjoy Dio because he's crazy. But a lot of the rest of it, I'm just like, I don't see why it's always at the top of your list. Please, in the comment section below, if you disagree with us on what we think is overrated, tell us why you disagree. Tell us why you think that these animes should be on the pedestal they're on, and let us have this conversation with you. I really, really want to hear what you guys think, because I know for me, JoJo's and Fairy Tail, I see them high on these lists, and I'm just like, nah, there's no way. There's no way possible. I mean, I could be crazy. What happened, Travis? I see you over there. So talk to us, Travis. You want to defend Fairy Tail, Travis?
Yeah, I know. He got to defend Fairy Tail and One Piece.
You know what's so funny? I feel like I am one of the commentators or people in the comments. Excuse me.
No, you're part of the conversation. You're in the meeting. Come on.
Anybody who's gonna be typing in the comments, I'm along with you in whatever you're about to say. First, let's address One Piece. Well, I can understand what Edwin's saying. However, well, actually, no. I can understand what Edwin's saying. I'm gonna leave that alone. Fairy Tail in general, though. No, let's start with JoJo. JoJo is meant to be over dramatic.
Okay.
That is the point of the anime. It is meant to be over dramatized, and that is a huge reason of the love for it and the generations. How it continues to follow this whole JoJo path. That's the point of it, and I think that's where and its over dramatic scenes is meant to capture the viewers and make people laugh. So the more people that's watching and laughing. Now I can't speak for everybody because you have some people who say, "Oh, I love the anime," and it's just really monkey see monkey do, right? They don't really like the anime. They just saying they like the anime because people like the anime. But for those people who actually enjoy the anime, I understand why it's the over dramatized scenes and the generations and trying to keep up and still laughing at the same time. And you get action with the drama. With Fairy Tail,
I don't think you really have to keep up in that show. There's like not much depth to that show at all.
But
you can't really get used to any characters either because in the next season they're all gonna be dead.
Yeah,
damn.
I mean, but apparently, Jotaro is apparently the most popular Joestar.
Except for Speedwagon. Oh.
So apparently Jotaro is the most popular Joestar, probably because he stood up to Dio, or whatever the case is. But he seems to be the one that seems to be timeless, and he's he's not that old per se based off how long the anime's been running. But he apparently is the one that has been holding the most attention. But I guess I hear what you're saying, Travis. It's supposed to be over dramatized, but that's the thing, because it's so over dramatic. it's hard for me to just be like, oh, I really like this show, I really want to watch it. And I think that's why a lot of the times, like, the younger audience really loves JoJo. Like, you hear a lot of kids walking around hallways, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you hear a lot of, you know, a lot of that in middle school and stuff like that. I teach kids, and a lot of them walk around making the JoJo noises. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hear it all the time. But when I'm trying to watch it and trying to get into something, it's not something I would watch. Doesn't mean that, you know, what I mean is so great, but I just don't see why, as a whole, it's put up on that pedestal. You know what I'm saying? Because it's put up there as a whole, you know, just based off of,
But there are always going to be things that escape us. Like I remember when I used to love watching shows and movies pertaining to high school. I can't watch those shows anymore. I just don't see the goodness of, like, I don't get invested into it anymore.
Okay.
So in order to, I think we have to step out and understand that this show is probably put on a pedestal, or these shows, because there are some shows that I think that just suck and I could easily knock them down, like I did with Trigun. But with JoJo and Fairy Tail, they have the power to bring both sex together. Fairy Tail is not only being watched by boys or guys. Fairy Tail is being watched by girls as well. And it's the same thing with JoJo. JoJo is loved by the girls because of the animation, the way the eyes look. A lot of women like JoJo. That's the truth.
Okay.
Just as much as the guys do who like it.
Well, I mean, but nowadays I think it's different. I don't see a lot of people watching it just because I'm this or that. I mean, some females still like to talk about and watch a lot of the kind of non-action animes with, like, a lot of the romance and stuff like that. I know a couple of people who are into, like, romance animes and stuff like that. If you are into romance animes, name some in the comments. I would love to look those up. So there's a lot of them who just kind of watch anime to watch anime now, and because they're ones that are so popular, like JoJo's and, like, you know, the other ones that are on the pedestals, whether they deserve it or not, those are the ones that get watched by people regardless of what you are, whether you're male or female. You just kind of happen to watch these animes because you see them all the time. And when you see them all the time, you kind of watch it. Look at Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is popular for everybody because of how popular it was in general, and so that's just kind of how it works. So I think that's kind of how it works now, as opposed to before, back in the day, when it was like more, I'm gonna watch Sailor Moon because I'm a girl. Even though we all watch Sailor Moon, I watch Sailor Moon because it was anime. But you know what I'm saying? So I feel like I don't feel like that is necessarily like the pull on it, but I could see what you're saying. I do know a couple of female artists who do like the way characters in JoJo are drawn. So I hear you.
And I honestly was taken out for Sailor Moon. As much as I enjoyed Sailor Moon, there was a certain point where I couldn't want to go past. It got too lovey-dovey for me, and I couldn't stay with it. At least I could say, what was 10-year-old Travis, 11-year-old Travis could not stay with Sailor Moon because I couldn't get. I was tired of hearing Tuxedo Mask. Like, it got annoying to me.
I mean, but he didn't even do anything when he showed up. He just get, like, beat up and get saved anyway. Right. I thought that was always funny.
And Inuyasha, that's also put on a pedestal.
Inuyasha is up there because Shishomaru is a god. Nah, it's probably not why, but Shishomaru is a god. I'm sorry. The man is a beast. Speaking of which, with that being brought up, I don't know if you guys heard about it, but they are revisiting Inuyasha and they are bringing it back, and they're going to be dealing with it seems like his child and Shishomaru's child, whatever the case is. Check out your news on your Twitter, your anime, whatever the case is. Inuyasha is coming back. I guess the next generation, whatever the case is.
Inuyasha is going Boruto?
It seems it might be the case, but it's definitely on its way back. It was announced earlier.
Naruto still paving the way for people, man. That's crazy.
Oh, you know what, Ed? I'm glad you did that, Ed. I'm so glad you did that. You know why I'm glad you did that? Because what we're going to do for this next thing is I want to ask a question. I feel my Kadeem here, all right? I'm posing questions, okay? This is my question to y'all. So now we talked about animes that are put on pedestals that we don't believe should be there. What are the animes that are on the pedestal that you believe have every right to be there? So I'm so glad you said Naruto, because you always say Naruto is Ichiban. So now, since we already did it, Edwin, tell me why Naruto belongs on the pedestal.
Well, I didn't read the manga, but for the anime, I feel like it was just, like, written well. Like, the stuff that they say, like the messages that the anime portrays and stuff like that, I liked it all. I thought the action was cool and stuff like that, and I just really liked the writing a lot. I thought, like, they really tried to, like I said before, like, convey something. It wasn't just like, all right, watch this fights, watch this, here's some jokes or whatever, and then boom, there you got it.
He's saying,
Like
boom.
I felt like
We're from New York,
like they
everybody.
really want, yeah.
So boom.
Yeah, I thought the writing was really good.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I mean, I can. We talked about me and Travis also talked about how much we appreciated a lot of the details that went into Naruto and certain parts of Naruto, and I feel like that also carries into a lot of it. There are some places where I feel like could have been done better. I still don't understand why Neji had to die, but it is the way it is, and these things happen. So I will say this though, I do feel like there was a lot of detail put into it. Even at the end, it kind of
he died so Naruto and Hinata could get closer.
Yeah, I mean, we know that's
Don't
what they're
wanna hear
going
that.
with, but I still
You
feel like
don't
it
wanna
just
hear
kind of
that.
it wasn't necessary. I don't think it was necessary at all because they already had showed us how much Hinata wanted to be with Naruto, and because there were a lot of things that Naruto was doing when he started to notice these things, even at the end of the pain fight, right? We saw these emotions blooming already, so we didn't have to lose Neji in order to bring them closer. I don't think that's
Nah,
necessary.
he said why he did it though. He said why he did it.
Go ahead, Kareem, go ahead. I hear you, Doc. Come on, Doc, talk to us. Because that's his favorite character, y'all. He's a Neji fan.
It is, yeah, Neji's my but that's what I'm not talking about though. It's the power scaling too. The power scaling in some episodes was kind of off. Now, one episode I would like to bring up was one of the greatest fights in Naruto was Rock Lee versus Gaara.
Don't do it. Nope. Wait, hold up.
That watching, huh?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead, bro. I just. Oh my.
Watching that fight, Rock Lee went all out, and the ending was stupid. And then to see that same man that beat Rock Lee lose to a headbutt was just.
It was rough. I know. It was rough.
What?
So,
Come on now.
let's do this. We're asking for you guys to talk a lot with us here because these are some things I've always wanted to know what other people thought about. Rock Lee getting beat by Gaara was one of the moments that hurt me the most when I was a child watching Naruto.
Did he break his limb or something? Almost broke his limb?
I was so upset because he was moving so fast and hitting so hard, and they explained how much stronger people get when you open the gates and all this other stuff. They went through the details. Might Guy Sensei was up there telling us exactly what happens when these gates are unlocked. Then Kakashi's explaining it too because he's telling Guy he's an idiot for teaching him this technique. This technique is going to be so great. They hype it up. And then it hits Gaara and it actually starts to break the sand armor he has on to no avail. And I was just like, it doesn't make sense that the sand was moving as fast as he was. I just couldn't, my brain couldn't wrap myself around it. So.
Yeah, like Gaara's a chump though.
Oh no, Gaara's not a chump. But
Gaara's a chump.
Not at all.
His gates lived up to whatever it was. You got to remember, Rock Lee was talentless. He had nothing.
He had no jutsu.
You're going up against a guy that has a tail beast.
Yeah, he's a product. Yeah, word.
He has the
like
one
his
job.
own siblings and everybody feared him. Like you had people in his village that tried to
but
kill him and
look
could not
how
kill him.
Look how he lost.
It was, I just didn't. I couldn't.
I think that was a comment on basically Tail Beast. Only at that point in time, it seemed like it was commentary, and only Tail Beast can beat Tail Beast.
Yeah,
That's how I.
Okay, I could see that, but like I said, at the moment when I first watched it, it was disheartening for me. I watched episode I know the episodes 49 and 50. Those are the episodes. You want to watch? Go watch Naruto episode 49 and 50 if you want to see Rock Lee. Because I watched those episodes so many times. I've watched those episodes so many times because I enjoyed that so much. As a matter of fact, I watched Naruto in the beginning. I stopped watching Naruto, and then that episode came out, and then I started watching Naruto again because I saw the episode when I was younger. That's literally what it was for me. Watching Rock Lee
And that
while out.
soundtrack was two beats.
And, Rock Lee's music is amazing.
Sure.
But so
I'm gonna say that their fights were completely different though. Naruto and this, didn't he fight
that
Sasuke
is
right
true,
before
too.
fighting Naruto?
yeah,
Wasn't that the case?
he fought
And this-
Sasuke in the exam.
Naruto had Gamma Buns out, and they was doing mad different shit. I'm sure this dude was exhausted.
That
I
probably was.
mean, granted, it was a headbutt,
But it didn't seem. I mean, okay. You know what, Tommy? I'll take that. So if we're saying that the drain in chakra is what allowed the Gaara to eventually lose because of all the different
I
things they
don't
were
know,
doing in the
man.
fight,
I'm
then
just
I'll
trying to
agree
give
with that.
Gaara some type of crutch.
No,
I don't know.
Gaara's amazing. I think Gaara's great, but I'm saying, but like what you're saying
you
makes
guys
sense.
are kind of downplaying Gaara.
No,
Yeah,
we're not.
word. No,
but
but
I don't
I
think
think
we're
what Tom said
downplaying
is kinda
Gaara.
right, though,
But
in the beginning.
I'm not.
No, nobody's.
I'm not downplaying Gaara.
Do you think Rock Lee should have won that fight?
I do, only because the way that they displayed the gates if they didn't talk about the gates the way that they did right before it, then I would just be like, okay, I understand. I know exactly why. There was nothing he could do about it. But the way they talked about these gates and the fact that the sand was proving that it couldn't keep up with him, you know, when he was moving around and hitting them, and how fast he was hitting them, and how hard he was supposed to be hitting them when it was going on. And that's the only reason why I was like, why did Rock Lee not win this fight? But as Tommy was just saying, I definitely can see why that makes sense, because you're right. During the Gaara fight with Naruto, they were using a lot of chakra. He was summoning this. He turned Gamabunta into the Nine-Tailed Fox. They were fighting on top of those things while he was holding up his defense, and Shukaka was being utilized, and a lot of that drains a lot of chakra. Therefore, at the end of it,
don't even mess with Gaara like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And prior to that, he fought Sasuke, right?
Yeah, and he fought Sasuke, and Sasuke kind of cut him in the shoulder, and then he was wilding out also with the Sand Shurikens before he transformed and got bigger. So therefore, I can see that does make sense when I look at it that way. So I will say that I can see why that does work. But I guess, and that's something else in the details that I missed.
This is not saying that you're wrong, Kadeem. It's corny. It's corny.
The headbutt was corny. It was definitely corny.
If it's corny, it's corny.
I'm not saying Rock Lee should have won. I'm just saying the power scaling I felt like it's kind of off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's just like once Rock Lee opened up the gates, like what Genin or Chunin, whatever level what is on his level when he opens up the gates.
Yeah, well,
other than Gaara.
Yeah, how hard he was hitting. That's what I'm saying. The way they described how hard he was hitting, it kind of put him on another level of strength when they were describing it, and that's why I was also confused. That's why I'm saying hearing Tommy say what he said though doesn't make sense. So, because if we're talking about how much chakra the tail beasts are getting in, and like Travis said, if we're talking about the narrative of tail beasts having to fight tail beasts for the obvious amount of chakra that they're emitting and giving off, then it does make sense. And so, that's something. See, there you go. I learned something new today, everybody. Mm-hmm. All right, so we have these conversations. we can see things in a light that we are not seeing. So yeah, I got.
I just looked at it as Gaara's defense is really high.
But hold on.
I mean, that's
Naruto's Ichiban. Naruto's Ichiban. Wait, hold up. Kadeem, what is your anime that deserves to be on the pedestal? What is it? What is that anime that's like, this joint is dope sauce? It's got
difficult not to laugh.
Dope.
Yeah, like one of your animes that you think is so beast that it has to be on the pedestal. It has to be up there. Like it deserves its place.
I'm not gonna say it's so beast, but it's pretty good. I'm gonna say My Hero, even though it just came out, it's not finished yet. But you could see the direction that it's going, and you could, and the fighting scenes, man, the fighting scenes is just good. And being that this is, even though we spoke about this in a previous episode, like what anime is that you had to go back and look at just to play things out and figure out where the writer or the creator was going. I feel like My Hero is another anime where you're gonna have to go back a couple of episodes to figure out who someone is, because even though till this day they're saying that there's a traitor amongst everyone in the academy, but they don't know who it is. So eventually that person is gonna. So you're gonna have to. You're like, nah, hold on, I didn't see this coming. So you're gonna go back, some episodes, whatever, just to figure out the clues and see, why he's why this person was a traitor or whatever.
Watch it be mad obvious too when you go back. Like, oh, how did I miss that?
Well, yeah,
I hate that, man.
Right? I'm waiting to see that too. I'm like, what are we talking about here? Like, who is it? So yeah, no, you're right.
It's not obvious.
Tom, you're up.
All right, Travis, you ready?
Because
Nah, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not kidding. Say it. No, you're not joking. Go ahead and say it. You're not joking.
No, I am joking.
What?
Of course, Death Note.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
That
I don't
is
even need to explain.
Wait, but time out. Hold on. What is it? Do people put it on the pedestal though?
Yes, Death Note is. Death Note's up there. Yeah.
Yes.
Death Note is.
I mean, I think it's up there. I think it's up there. 80% of it is up there.
You said 80% of it. Wait, hold on, Ed. I agree with you. I agree with you. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, let Tom go.
It's up there and well deserved.
I agree.
I just, with it being a non-action anime manga, it's still one of the greats to me. I mean, like I mentioned before, I'm just gonna speak for myself. I got attracted to anime because of all the action and all that stuff. But when I got introduced to Death Note, it was a whole nother thing. enjoyed what's pretty much the mental battle between these two guys, going from knowing specifically like nothing about each other, pretty much battling it out to uncovering each other's identity
Yeah, word.
and ultimately capturing the other one or killing the other one. They both
I
had
didn't
two
watch
different
Death Note.
senses of justice. What's up?
I said I never watched Death Note.
That's good.
Oh wow.
It's good stuff.
They have very strong sense of, like I said, justice, and these guys are going to all different types of lengths and doing whatever it is that they can to kill the other one while sitting in the same room with one another. I just think that's crazy.
Word.
There was a lot of I guess mental board game, chess, if you want to call it that, checkers. If
I mean,
feel
you
like
guys know how much I enjoy that.
Yeah, that
shit.
was probably
Yeah,
the best
used to
game of
play the
chess you'll
Naruto.
ever see.
it was really good. It was really good.
And it's just the things that they came up with. It makes you think that if this was something going on in real life, that would like be the best route in order for you like to go if you were like one of those guys, in a sense. Up until the end of the manga, though, I feel like there was a lot of mistakes made by certain characters. None by Light though, because he's the man.
Oh, here we
But,
go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh man.
It's just
He
the
was
idiots
good, he
around
was
him
good.
that ruined the whole thing.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. All right.
I mean, we could discuss that if y'all like. But,
I'm
yeah,
just saying.
I just
Once
think that
my
Death Note-
man L passed. Anyway, continue. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just say, all in all, it really does deserve to be up there for what it is and what it represents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I second that.
You know, I think Death Note is definitely one of those anime that gave me the appreciation for a lot of the mental chess, the strategy, and the just having to think ahead, being a couple of steps ahead of the person that you know that you're in competition with, and using your resources to the best of your ability in order to get ahead on somebody. I thought that was really cool, and that's kind of why I'm a big fan of Code Geass, because of the way that works out. Code Geass is another one of those animes that are very much heavy into using the mind and seeing the battlefield itself as the pieces, knowing how to move the pieces, knowing how to move your resources, knowing what the other people are going to do, and using the other person's thought as a resource. And I felt like watching Light and watching L, and you see this a lot, like, oh, I know I got to do this because I know he's going to do this. Since he's going to react this way, I should do this, right? And a lot of that takes place, and I felt like that was really amazing when I watched Death Note and other animes that are kind of similar to that. So, yeah, I think Death Note belongs there. Goose, it's on you, Doc.
Well, we've had a conversation about that, so we already know my thoughts pertaining to what Tommy just said. And in the past, I've named other I've named other animes that I felt can compete. Hence the reason why I didn't want to put it up there. Like Code Geass, like Monster, but that's my take. But an anime that needs to be put on a pedestal.
That deserves it.
Full Metal Alchemist
Brotherhood.
In terms of detail,
Yeah.
that is it right there. You get character development, you get the emotions, you get alchemy, and not just alchemy like we're gonna just talk about it. They actually bring up the rules of what is discussed.
Yeah.
For alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually look up the things that they're talking about, and these things were actually talked about during, I would say, back in Aristotle times.
Yeah, a
And
lot of
Socrates.
a lot of the rules they picked up were details from actual places. Yeah.
So
I would definitely hope so, though. I mean, I would have hoped that you'd done some research before writing about something that has to do with alchemy.
yeah,
Else the show would just be so garbage.
right.
But that's cool. They stayed true to that.
You know, it was really
And yeah, I agree. It does deserve to be up there as well. What was the king's name? Pride or Wrath, or something like that?
It was Wrath, right?
Wrath.
I think it was Wrath.
Right there with that.
Yeah, his fight was Scar. Like, that was
Beast.
just so good.
Oh
Man.
So, I mean, yeah. Okay. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, man. So like Travis saying, a lot of those details and stuff like that made it amazing, and a lot of the things that they wrote were amazing, and the detail they put into how the rules of alchemy work, because that's one thing about the show that you could never fault them with. You never got to a place where you didn't understand why something was happening, because they gave you such a detailed description of the alchemy while Ed was learning how to do it. So we learned with Ed how to do it properly.
What?
Edward.
Oh, my bad. I didn't do nothing.
And so we were learning of those things with him, and because we did, and with Al, we knew why things were happening as the story progressed. But I feel like another thing that people always forget is just the way that they talked about the characters. The side cast in every anime, I feel like, is so important to why animes get to pedestals. Like I can jump around the list, but I talked about Light and L. If we talk about My Hero, we're talking about all the other students plus the other adults and the actual heroes that are doing what they're doing in My Hero. We're talking about, like a couple episodes ago, like Hawks and Endeavor. We're talking about Bakugo. We're talking about those guys, right? In Naruto, we're talking about Neji. We're talking Gaara and Gaara's character development. We're talking about Asuma and Shikamaru. We can go through all the characters that leave lasting impressions. Madara, that leave lasting impressions on you. And I feel like that's a big part of what makes anime stick out to me and put them on pedestals. So that when we're talking about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, we're talking about how good they displayed the character traits. Scar, the way they wrote Scar. Yo, that's the way somebody should live and deal with genocide because of what he went through. He was the perfect embodiment for his trauma. It was done so well, and you could never, even though you wanted to be upset with him for doing certain things because he's a bad guy, you were still rooting for him because you knew that he was dealing with his trauma the right way, and it was just like that. You saw it. And even like,
were you rooting for Sasuke the whole time?
I thought Sasuke did a lot of dumb stuff once he got to Shippuden. But I could see some of the things. I could see why he did some things, but there's a lot of stuff I was just like, Sasuke, you being dumb. Hey. They're explaining these things to you, Sasuke. Stop. Cut it out right now. But then again, a lot of Sasuke stuff, as the Goose had explained before, was because of how our childhood selves are reflected as we're growing and becoming who we are. And because of that, I can see why Sasuke's trauma caused him to not make proper decisions or judgment when he could have. I see that. I get it. I still think, hey, you're dumb. All right, Itachi was trying to help you.
Yeah,
but
I hate that character.
I get
Who,
it.
Sasuke?
I get it.
Nah, take that back, man.
But yeah, I feel like.
Can I end the? No, I that.
No, go ahead. Bro,
you gonna say something, Maurice, or are we moving on to the next?
I mean, I have more to say, but no, go ahead. Let's do it.
I want to
character talk.
I want to piss a lot of people off and go back to the overhyped thing. That's why. So if you still got more, you can say, and then I'll get back to it.
No, go, man.
All right. To me, one anime that I think is super overhyped more than One Piece is Yu Hakusho.
Nah, get off. Somebody kick him off the podcast. Somebody kick him off.
Serious.
Somebody.
To me, that anime is just nothing but stupid fights.
What?
That's it. Stupid fights.
Whoa.
That's it.
Wow.
Whoa.
That is it.
Oh no.
That is it.
I just got kicked in the nuts.
to
To
the
me,
viewer,
that is it. You might as well put it in the Dragon Ball Z Super, and I never watched it because it looked like nothing but stupid fights.
Ooh.
Super? I didn't think Super was that good either.
I mean, I don't know if it's good or not. It could be amazing, but all I heard people like, "Yo, did you see the fight? Did you see the fight?" And I'm just like, dumb fights. It's just gonna be fights. That's it. And I felt that like that's all that really was, man. He's supposed to be a detective, and he's just going around fighting people. That's his detective job. Make sure that those big ants or whatever they were, the big bugs that they was whacking around. I'm like, what the fuck? I watched every episode.
Wait,
I think Yu Yu Hakusho. Wasn't there like some weird things that were coming out from the fucking demon world or something like that?
Yeah, no, you're right. The insects. You're right.
Yeah, that's where he went to go stop them. Yeah, because I think the
During
portal was
the
open.
Sensui. Yeah, during the Sensui saga. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm like, this is nutty as hell. Listen,
But
I
that was,
think Yu Yu Hakusho has one of the best
whoa.
opening themes though in the Japanese one.
Yeah,
But other
it
than
is so
that,
good.
I think it's just that. Yeah, I take back One Piece. One Piece is like 10 compared to Yu Yu Hakusho.
You a wild and
and
oh my
Nah,
god.
there's no way.
I'm
That-
being dead serious. I'm being.
Oh man.
Yo, I think, like Tom said, man, back in the day in 2003, when you had $3, you thought it was a lot, but now it's $3. Is like you might as well throw it in the garbage.
Oh man, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho. I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho deserves where it's at, because of the way, like it sits in your memory in a way that is not disappointing. We see a lot of things happen in the show that were different for the time. We saw Yusuke, like even like he would win by luck sometimes, and they wouldn't like try to bullcrap excuse why he had to win the fight. He would just lose. And I felt like, to me, that was different. A lot of times we saw a lot of power creeping, a lot of people getting boosts out of nowhere, and that didn't happen with Yusuke until like the Sensui fight. And even with that, when he did win because of his like demon form or whatever that case was, then he had a whole issue with it, and he wasn't even trying. He didn't want to use it or nothing like that. And it was just like it was a lot of things where you see kind of why Yusuke is Yusuke. And not only that, it's another one of those animes where the side characters make it great. Like, we spent a lot of the show trying to figure out and learn about Hiei, right? We spent a lot of the show trying to sit with Kurama. I'm about to say, we sit with Kurama, and Kurama's story is interesting. He has an
That's a
interesting
top tier
story
character across anime to me.
The Kurama is amazing.
So I give what's his name, Togashi. I give him that. He creates a few characters that are like really cool. Other than that, he's just like an overrated writer.
I don't know.
I
would disagree. That's a heavy hit. That's a oof.
So how you talking about? So Travis, you think that Yu Yu Hakusho is better than Hunter x Hunter?
You asked Travis.
Damn. Hell no.
Travis.
I say hell no.
And he asked Travis though. You knew Travis was gonna say that.
That's a nutty take right there, man.
I'll tell you why. For the time period that Yu Yu Hakusho came out, when you think, like, similar to Akira, whenever something is done at that time, and this is why I said what I said in that episode. I said, are we giving these things credit because of nostalgia, or are we giving them credit because they're actually good? And I had to answer that question myself. For Yu Yu Hakusho, the answer for Yu Yu Hakusho is the fact that process of underworld detective, basically being half demon, it was not presented in anime. It wasn't presented in anime. There was no anime similar to that, similar to like Akira. That's the reason why Akira is such a great movie.
So then now I'm gonna say to that, then that's why One Piece is good, because of the whole pirate thing, and that's it. To me, I honestly think that, especially out there in Asia, like I don't know, but how often do they discuss pirates? Like in Japan, China, Korea, whatever. And I feel like
that's not the only thing, man.
I feel like that's one of the main reasons why it's so popular, because it's different. Who out there is writing about pirates like that?
It is one of the
Who's
reasons.
writing about pirates? Oh, anime about pirates? Let's check this out. Oh, snap. These guys have these crazy abilities. This is cool. I like this.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
So like you can't tell me that it's good because back in the day there was nobody talking about detectives going and fighting demons.
That's a part of the reason.
I think that's a bad reason.
I mean, but it is a reason.
That's not the only
That's
reason.
my opinion. That's my opinion.
Yeah, of course. I mean, not a bad. It's not a bad opinion at all.
The reason why Terminator was so great. It's the reason why Star Wars was so great at the time period.
Nah, Terminator is lit.
It is.
Star Wars is Dookie Wars to me.
See,
we apologize.
Oh boy.
Wow.
You a Star Wars fan, D?
There's a lot of crazy shit being said.
Oh,
Crazy
man.
shit. You mean to tell me that I'm the only
May
person
the
that
4th
doesn't
just
like?
passed, yo.
May the 4th.
Yeah, May the 4th stay there and never return. Because May the 4th. It's all about Cinco de Mayo.
Hold on, wait, real quick. I just want to say this. I want to say this. So, Travis said that I was the harshest critic on this podcast. I would like to now give the title to Mr. Ed and Edwin. I would like to pass that right on up that way.
This is why I was kind of quiet the past few episodes, because I knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean,
I was gonna say something. They're gonna be like, "Oh no!"
I mean, hey, but it's a conversation. But no, I think Yu Yu Hakusho, like Travis said, when we talk about reasons for things getting to the pedestal, getting to the point where they are popular, is because of when they come out and what they're doing when they are available to us. The reason that Dragon Ball Z will never be moved off its pedestal is because of what it means and what it represents for shonen shonen as a whole, what it represents for anime as a whole, and how it's changed the way anime is done, produced, written, so forth, so on. Transformations, colors, adding in power when you need it, the struggle between good, evil, and characters who are light enough to understand how they have to interact with other characters while still going forth in what they want for themselves. I think that that's a big thing for it. Watching Yu Yu Hakusho showed us, one, how Yusuke was evolving as a character, Kuwabara evolving as a character from young street punks to taking responsibility for things that they had to do and other things that they were becoming responsible for. Seeing Hiei change from just being a demon to doing certain things to always, which we learned about later, was taking care of his sister and his family and making sure that he wasn't gaining power just for the sake of it, but making sure that no one can mess with Yukina, right? And then we saw Kurama, who was dealing with his situation and learning and figuring out how to make sure that she stayed safe because he was connected to his human mother. Like, a lot of those things, because of when it happened, were unconventional for what at the time. Seeing the spirit detectives and knowing that the ones who weren't the main character were winning their fights properly, and the main character was always winning off of some random luck thing he thought about at the last moment, that was unconventional for the time. He was not the random main character, just got the power up and stuff like that. I feel like that's a big reason why Yu Yu Hakusho was so great. Just seeing different types of story being told with, of course, the realms at the time was a big thing, right? The human world, the demon world, that was a big thing at the time the anime came out, and it was cool to see that play out in the way that they wrote it. I think that's why Yu Yu Hakusho gets up there. I can see why you were saying that it is overhyped. I can see why you're saying that. I disagree, but I can see why you're saying that. I'm gonna leave that right there.
Can I answer Ed's question though?
Yeah,
Hakusho better than Hunter? I don't think it's better, but they're close to that same level.
Because he wrote the
When
same
you think
thing
about
twice, and y'all ate it up.
Hunter was inspired by Hakusho.
He wrote the same thing twice. Sorry. Keep going.
How did he write the same thing twice?
Keep going. Go ahead, we can get back to that. My bad. Mike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll go back to it.
Hunter was inspired by Hakusho.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Hunter, I can't keep stressing how much it is as an unconventional shonen. It doesn't really follow most of the guidelines that most shonens follow. And I just hope that he would continue the story as to where it's at right now. And even at the point to where it's at right now, I still place it on a pedestal as well. I think it deserves to be there for so many different reasons. And I'm not really trying to put one of his mangas or anything like that on top of the other, because I think he's a good ass writer. And he pays attention to it. He has a lot of detail and everything in all of his writing.
Yeah.
So I think Hakusho deserves to be up there. I think Hunter deserves to be up there because the guy is just really good.
I think it hurts me to say it. I think from one who is looking at the details in anime and really enjoys seeing how things intertwine and looking at the side cast and everything as a whole, I think that for the sake of what they are at the current moment, not taking away from Hakusho, but I think Hunter x Hunter slightly it does edge over it because of the extra amounts of details that he put into understanding the powers and the abilities of characters. And I think that, of course, is the evolving from how he wrote Hakusho, and just showing us that we saw how spirit energy could be used for different things in Hakusho. And then in Hunter x Hunter, we saw how Nen was used in different ways with the different characters, and it showed us his intention for showing, the intentions of people and how it manifests into their abilities. And I thought that was a very, very good take on just watching details and being able to get with the character, because we understood the character based off of how their abilities work. It gave us a better way of understanding people. I feel like that's why a lot of people relate to Kurapika, because we can see the contract that was made in order for him to get the abilities and the power. Right, we saw why he had to do it. We saw what he was willing to give up, and it kept us close to him because of that. And I felt like a lot of other characters like that in the show, where we see what it is that they're willing to do for the power, or what they were just trained to do growing up, that gave them the abilities that they had, and how it manifested on the inside of them. And of course, that poured out of them. And I feel like that's a lot of that is why I think Hunter x Hunter is a very good anime. I don't think it's one of the best, not myself, but I do think for sure I enjoyed watching it, just because I would be looking at the Nen and stuff like that. So yeah,
It's not just that though.
Well,
It's not just it's.
No, I'm not saying it's just, and I'm not saying it's the net. I'm talking about like that. That's kind of why I feel like, if I look at both the animes, I could see why Hunter would be, you know, above Hakusho because of it's more fleshed out. It's more developed as a whole, the anime itself.
Right. Let me just get back to something that Ed said. He asked me, and the viewers, please, I want everybody to listen. What I said, saying that, do I think Hakusho is better than Hunter? It is a total biased answer. It is not. It is not objective. It's just, I really just like Hakusho more than I like Hunter x Hunter. In terms of actuality, being objective, yes, I'll take the bow. Hunter is better than Hakusho because the writer himself has evolved, right?
Yeah, he actually tried to write a story this time.
Right. Well, I'm not gonna go there.
Not tried. He wrote a story this time. He's writing a story. Sorry.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not just better. It's just a better story.
A lot of the story in Hakusho revolves around. To me, it's like a sub story, and then the major story is just another tournament. And that to me is just such lazy writing. Every time that an anime or manga produces that tournament scene, just to cycle through characters, show what their characters are about, it's so easy to do it in that format of having a tournament. I mean, Dragon Ball Z overuses it all the time. Obviously Hakusho, the Dark Tournament, and then the Makai Tournament. That was the majority of the whole anime right there. So that's my takeaway from Hakusho. And the Sensui arc was crazy. That was like really good.
It was wild.
I mean,
those abilities were crazy too, man. Oh, like that was
exactly.
different.
The creativity with the abilities, and that's what like
beautiful.
Brought me back into My Hero as well. Is just seeing the creativity. A lot of these other animes have a superpower. One has fire, the other one has water. Like somebody's an element, and that's pretty much as far as they go.
Yeah.
But with this, it's totally different.
I think honestly, during that time period is mostly just trying to show the action. I don't think they were really trying to convey, like, they weren't trying to go too much into detail, even though they were still trying to tell a story. It was at the same time really trying to show what was in the manga and animate. And you know, you didn't have, and plus you have to remember also that over time you're gonna get better as a writer, and you can put more detail in, and that's why we see all the detail in Hunter. But at the same time, Hakusho still has a story. It still has a plot. But through animation, we got to see all these fights. And I think a majority of the animes during that time period were mostly about fighting or getting to show out the action.
A lot of action stuff. I definitely agree with that. I think that's why we as a group are into like a lot of action anime. And I think that's why our pedestal anime conversation, when we bring up Death Note and how we look at anime now, we're looking more to see what's happening with the story. We're more invested in that now that we're older. But when we were younger, a lot of our, a lot of things that got us watching it was definitely the action. It was, watching Goku power up and fight. We enjoyed watching and seeing those things, and that's kind of why we got stuck into it, right? So I definitely agree with that. So, as we normally do, we're gonna come to this end of this meeting of the pillars, and we're going to simply ask a question. And like we always, but the thing we're going to change up though is because we had a lot to say, and there's a lot that I want to hear what you guys think based off of the conversation that we had. There are some things that were controversial, some things I don't necessarily agree with. Right, Ed? A lot of things I actually agree with. And we want to hear what you guys have to talk about. So please, in the comment section below, join us with what you have to say. Tell us your opinions, your thoughts. Do you agree with what we chose of animes that should be on the pedestal, deserve to be there? Do you think we picked the wrong ones for overhyped ones and overrated ones, the ones that are up there that don't deserve it? Do you feel that our choices were proper? What do you feel about them? Do you agree or not? So please let us know in the comment section below, and you can always join the conversation there. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can always be in tune when the meeting of the pillars is going to convene, and we can talk about more of this stuff. So, with that being said, Ed, I think you had a question for the viewers.
My question to the viewers is, prove me wrong.
That's not even a question.
It is now. I just made it a question.
Fine. So, prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Question mark, everybody. So, for everyone watching, please, if you disagree with what Ed said about Yu Yu Hakusho or any of the other things that he said,
anything,
please,
one garbage
in the
piece,
if you agree
whatever.
with him in the comments, please join us. I know this is a lot of I'm asking for it a lot because we talked about some things, and I would really like to know what you guys think about it. With that being said, we come to the close of this episode. Stay safe out here in the COVID times, please. But remember, stay nerdy, my friends.